magnanimous about our league position and the gap. No one's mentioning it really, are they?
Well, I'm going to read another one out now.
Okay, then, go on then.
Which is directed at Ando.
Be very classy, very classy.
This one's from Colombo in Durham, of all people. So, quarter of the season gone. How does Ando feel that after 2.5 months, Mega Bucks Mags, province of Saudi Arabia, have never been higher in the league than Sunderland all season? Bet you never saw Sunderland as top dog in the North East, Ando. £500 million invested by the Saudi nation, but second best to Sunderland. Did you see that coming, Ando? You're not so cocky now, says Colombo in Durham.
I don't think I was ever cocky.
I don't necessarily think you were either.
No, I don't think I was ever cocky. All I would say is there's an awful lot of football to be played.
Yes.
And that's all I'm saying.
I was just writing in my little pad this afternoon, and I was listing the fixtures, and I was just trying to work out whether when Newcastle come to Sunderland, whether we could still be unbeaten at home. That would be quite interesting, wouldn't it? If that
Arsenal are to come quite soon, so that would be a very big test of the home record, won't it?
Yeah. And Bournemouth as well. To be fair, they're going very well.
Indeed, another very good team.
That just putting it out there.
And David in Durham says, people having a go at Sunderland saying, who have you played? Well, our central midfielder's an 18-year-old and a 20-year-old taking care of seasoned Premier League players. Plus the Mags were getting a dressing room picture after beating Wolves 1-0, remember, says David.
Okay. Well, you know my thoughts on them dressing room pictures.
Yes, you're not too keen on them,
no.
are you? No, okay. Right, I think we can talk to Razor now. He's at St James's Park. He's waiting for Jose Mourinho, but he's got a bit of a gap to talk to us. Evening, Razor.
How are you doing?
Razor.
There's a bit of bounce going on in the studio, Razor. Can you hear it?
You've waiting for the special one, but you're going to talk to the special three. So off you go.
Yeah. I was enjoying your conversation there because I know there are some Newcastle fans who feel Sunderland have had quite an easy start in terms of the fixtures, but you've still got to get the points, haven't you? And I would remind you that when we did our predictions in pre-season, I had Sunderland highest out of all of us, didn't I, with 12? But I also had Newcastle third, which I'm sticking to despite the current situation, because they will get better.
Yes, indeed. Well, I'm just distracted because I'm reading some of the response messages coming in now as well. So
it's all kicked off now.
Yeah, it has a little bit.
Don't bite.
But we're going to talk a little bit about tomorrow night's match, Razor, because Eddie Howe's been speaking today, hasn't he, ahead of that Champions League match against Benfica.
There's always an afternoon press conference the day before a Champions League game. Eddie Howe's been talking, so has Nick Pope, who we'll hear from shortly. And you mentioned Jose Mourinho, who is now Benfica manager again. He was with them at the very start of his coaching career, only briefly, and then obviously he's been quite notably at many big clubs and had lots of success, but he came back to Benfica, back to his home country, Portugal, last month. He is the man in charge, and he'll be on the touchline at St James's Park tomorrow night. But Benfica, his team decided to train in Lisbon in Portugal this morning and then get an afternoon flight to Newcastle, but that flight was delayed, or I think it's landed but later than expected. So Mourinho is due to speak at about 7:30 at a press conference, but I don't think he's here yet. If we get the chance to hear from him on tonight's Total Sport, we will. But he will be up in front of the media soon to preview the trip to Newcastle, and obviously significant for him because of his affection for the club, which he has spoken about a lot, and much of that is, of course, through his strong association with Sir Bobby Robson, who he worked for in Portugal and at Barcelona in the 90s. But Eddie Howe has been talking from the Newcastle United perspective ahead of tomorrow's match, and the first thing to tell you about is the injury news, or the fitness news, because there's potentially a problem with Sandro Tonali. He's not injured, but he is unwell, and he played most of the game against Brighton on Saturday after coming back quite late from international duty with Italy, but he didn't train this morning. Eddie Howe says Tonali is touch and go for tomorrow's match. They'll give him every chance of being available, but it sounds like he may not make it. Options to replace him would be Lewis Miley or Jacob Ramsey. Joe Willock is seemingly out of favour at the moment, or they could take a midfielder out and put another defender in. There was no mention of any new injuries today, but Newcastle still without Johan Wissa, Lewis Hall and Tino Livramento.
So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people have been talking about changing the team anyway tomorrow, and so Tonali being a doubt, that might mean that he is someone that could miss out then by the sounds of it. Who would you bring in?
I'd bring Ramsey in. I like Miley, I like Miley, but I think Ramsey just gives you something a little bit different. But it's down to personal choice, I suppose. To lose Tonali, it'd be a big blow, though. He's been our top player. I think he's been great all season. Wasn't at his best at the weekend, but for a game of this magnitude, you would want him on the side, if at all possible.
Let's hear a bit from Eddie Howe then, Razor. What else did he talk about?
Well, in quite general terms, and following the defeat by Brighton away on Saturday, he was asked about the way that Newcastle United have started this season.
Frustrating is the feeling, I think.